one single post on Xbox subreddit actually sparked a whole conversation, a whole storm on X. Actually, it was just like a Kickstarter. And this subreddit post, my local Target is getting rid of their entire Xbox section. The electronics manager says they will no longer carry systems games or accessories. Well, this single post sparked a whole investigation per se, and there's a whole new conversation on the X. And there's a person like Destin, for example. He goes, I also called Target to ask if they were pulling or discontinuing Xbox stock. The person working there told me, and quote, there's nothing in our system showing anything being discontinued, but we also haven't had a shipment in about a week. A week. And it says we have the next on October 19th, but just one. And I was like, am I actually reading this right? Only one unit? One unit? Hey, bro, that's crazy. Nothing is saying discontinued. All right. So, again, the whole thing sparked a whole investigation, right? And then we have another official, like, unfortunately, Microsoft had to respond. And we have a whole journalistic investigation from an article that Michael Hogland and Jez Gordon that actually clarify. Let me just pull this up over here. They clarify no, Target and Walmart are not removing Xbox products from their stores as Xbox misinformation reaches new levels. One thing after another, Microsoft is forced to respond and time again to ongoing rumors that it's leaving the hardware space. You see, the fact that you have to actually go and respond on a rumor is already kind of bad, and also that people actually believe in it so fast, you know, it really speaks volumes that you have to respond on a rumor, right? There's a people saying like the brand reputation is abysmal, very very negative perception for the Xbox brand, to be honest. Have you ever met the friend or maybe co-worker at work, and he would be really cool in the beginning and he would entertain and he would be kind of cool to hang out with, right? And then all of a sudden, like after a year or so, he would start like act questionable, and he would have he would start asking you for money, and you'd be like, fuck, I don't like that. And then he would actually asking you for more money. And in the end, it would be like, this guy is obnoxious. I don't like it. I don't like him. And then another coworker would come to you. He's like, did you see Matt? He was he was doing it seems like he's doing drugs. And you're like, oh, that makes total sense now. And that's how I see the Xbox right now. Because the Xbox, it's like, it's not like if you would be talking and you say, oh, Xbox pulling out the, consoles out of the shells. I mean, if you say it about the PlayStation, you would be like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. If you say it about this friend, about your family member, no, that doesn't make any sense. But now you talking about Xbox, and all of the sudden, it's an issue, right? And people believe it. And why is that? Well, there's already like this precedent. If you think about, like, I have a really cool, let me see if I can find this. On the Windows Central, there's already this precedent created by Costco. There's a situation where Costco was actually already pulling out those Xbox consoles. And, they say we don't have any plans going forward. Oh, shoot. Carry on Xbox console. Nobody really knows why is it. Maybe low margins. Again, it's questionable, right? Nobody, again, like, there's no wonder why people took that rumor so fast and so quickly. And that really speaks volumes about the brand recognition and brand reputation right now. There was a top Reddit poster that commenter, he was writing something I'm not gonna quote it, but he was saying something like, "We had a blast these last few generations, and I'm going to miss Xbox, etc." There was a whole bad vibe about the Xbox. People kind of giving up on it. I'm questioning why is it, what's happening. Like there must be some cause, right? Like why people actually giving up on it. And honestly, there is bad sentiment in Xbox. It's because there's already like a bad communication from Phil Spencer. There's this lack of vision. Like years and years ago, people knew what Xbox meant for console players. It was always like this good, like you can buy the Xbox S for cheaper to get into gaming. Xbox had good games and people understood what Xbox meant, right? And I have a reason to go and play on a PlayStation. Nowadays on Xbox, with we have the financial pressures, we have there's a price hikes on consoles twice in this year, which is insane. You have subscription fee that was literally increased by 50% over one day. Why I would ever buy Xbox if the Xbox now you can buy for $800, which is crazy. I mean, that's the better version, but there's no incentives for me to buy ever Xbox, because if I would ever buy anything, I would just buy computer, because there's no reason to get the Xbox to play Xbox games, because you can play Xbox games on a computer, right? On the PC. So again, there is the reasons why it seems it's an issue. And I think, and not that I think, but there's a lot of people that think there is Phil Spencer, that he's miscommunicating. That's number one. But it seems like it's not all his fault, I would say. There is like a still key decision makers like the CEO Satya, what is her name? Satya Nadella, and CFO Amy Hood. And they seems like they're forcing Phil and basically telling him what to do. And that is like, what, like he needs to make more money. There's like these executive demands. They have to cut cost, and they have to justifying buying the Activision. If he's not gonna do it, if he's not gonna increase subscription fees, they might just fire him. They would probably have someone, I believe, what was her name? Amy Hood? Bond. That was her name. Bond. She would actually take his post, and she would do anything they would want. So this is the whole thing. Again, but now I'm thinking, right? Like rethinking, why is it happening? Why all of a sudden we had the layoffs, we have the price hikes. Why is this happening? What went wrong? And if you follow the money, the answers are always in the money, right? The answers, if you start and think about a Call of Duty, and if you follow the money, there was this 300 million. It seems like it was a 300 million, a deep hole. And it seems like it was caused by this deal with Call of Duty Black Ops. You had a Call of Duty in the subscription from the day one release. And what that cost, 82% of pre-orders for the next Call of Duty were on PlayStation. That's the number one. Because everyone else went on the Xbox. Hey, my friends, they were all playing Call of Duty. But if you had $70 a pop, times how many million people would buy that? Now we have that on Xbox subscription, and the math just didn't add up. And with all the Game Pass growth slowdown, think about the COVID-19, there was almost 80% growth on Xbox. From 2020 to 2021, there was a huge growth on Xbox, and then you have a 2022 to 2024 growth rate has slowed down. significantly. They now seem to Xbox really just have to find a balance. Very similarly as a Netflix, they had to cancel a couple things. They had to do some balances and they recovered. But why it works with Netflix is that it's more so word of mouth than people would remember or be loyal or understand the brand loyalty as in gaming. Like, you go play game because you know the developers. So the brand loyalty is probably more important than on a Netflix where I just gonna tell you, hey, go watch.
I suggest you put away your weapons, good people.
It's like, go watch Witcher and you're gonna go watch Witcher. Let's fucking go, you know? Which is very different in, if people doesn't know Witcher and my friend doesn't know Witcher and I'm telling him, hey, go watch Witcher, he's probably gonna watch it. But I wouldn't ever tell him that. So yeah, it was like a desperate fiscal year. And think about this, right? We had a $300 million hole. And it seems like they start realizing that there was a problem. So we got a calendar in here. And this whole thing has a lot to do with the fiscal years, Microsoft fiscal year. It started, I believe, in July 1st. Over here, July 1st, but ends by 30th, like the next year. I mean, this was the June 30th. It was ending and July 1st was starting. And now we understand that, okay, so we had Call of Duty when, let me just see when the Call of Duty Black Ops release. So the release date was October 25th, right? Okay. So let's see. So we got a October 25th. So we got a July, August, September, October. That's a first quarter. 25th was a release. And then the rest of the year, they start seeing it, right? January, February, like, oh my God, we actually losing a lot of money, right? March, April, they're like, oh my God, this is bad. This is the time where Microsoft seem to be in big trouble because all of a sudden we got the $70 pop, just not selling, like we have a subscription fees. People probably play over here October, November, December, and then stopped. Maybe play some January, but like people kind of dip, right? That's usually people don't play unless you are like a hardcore Call of Duty. You're probably gonna play, and you're probably gonna purchase the game because for long run it's gonna save more money, right? So for the people that were just, they just tried it. There was a December, yeah, a lot of people were playing. January kind of slowed it down, February. And then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell? And they had to, it seems like for them to look good on annual report for the fiscal year, they had to start doing something. And you have noticed they have done something crazy. They start releasing, we had the Doom, right? We had Expedition 33, all these frantic releases, Oblivion Remaster, South of Midnight, all of them were like released so closely on top of each other, which seems like the whole thing was just made so that it was releasing so quickly so that it doesn't look bad, right? So that on a fiscal year, books doesn't look bad because the $300 million is just, they need to balance it out somehow. But now you're not leaving with any releases, right? You can't, in order to keep subscribers on, you have to be releasing often, right? So that subscribers not leaving and they have reasons to stay on subscription. But now you're not left with any new releases. Well, that's an issue too. What is the solution for the Xbox? Nobody really knows, but we got some new leaks, right? We were checking the Moore's laws in here, and he was talking about some next-gen plans for Xbox, and he was actually showcasing what we might get. Like, there's a better processor. There's a called Magnum Xbox that's going to be way more powerful. It should be way more expensive than PlayStation 6, because PlayStation 6, they have a different issue. They're trying to get the PlayStation 4 people on the PlayStation 6 on the next gen, because they have over 50 million people still using PlayStation 4, and therefore they losing big money. But Xbox has a different issue right now. They seems to have, this issue with the money, trying to balance stuff out, but Xbox users unfortunately losing it. There's a leaks for the Xbox from the Moore's Law, as we can see. Moore's Law was leaking some Xbox news, and it should be like this PC slash console hybrid, where you should be able playing some like Xbox games and Steam games, which sounds pretty cool. I like the idea, but it's gonna be way more expensive. It should be like $1,000, and the use case probably is gonna be, it's not as TV couch gaming, but more so like a desk and monitor. Again, it's gonna be this hybrid PC. So, right, but we understand the PlayStation, how the PlayStation works, right? We understand the branding. It's a couch gaming. It's gonna be probably the standard price, even cheaper, since we saw on Moore's Law the cost of how much PlayStation 6 cost to make, and it's gonna be way more cheaper, because there should be like a 3 versions, PS6S essentially, then probably handheld, and then the standard premium user PlayStation 6. It's going to be very powerful, but not as powerful as Xbox. So what does this mean? Can next gen hardware fix the last gen branding problem for Xbox? We will see. And I'm really interested and curious, what is your thoughts on the Xbox and the branding, and how do you feel about, if you are an Xbox player, how do you feel? And just leave the comment below and subscribe, and I'll see you in next video.